The Battle off Samar has passed into legend as one of the greatest upsets in naval history. Taffy 3, a task force of destroyers, destroyer escorts, and carrier escorts, was caught off guard when the might of the Japanese center force appeared out of nowhere. For several hours, Taffy 3 dueled with a vastly superior fleet of 4 large battleships, including the Yamato, 6 heavy cruisers, 2 light cruisers, and nearly a dozen destroyers. Of all the ships that fought that day, perhaps none gained more recognition than USS Johnston, a Fletcher-class destroyer captained by Commander Ernest Evans. Upon sight of the superior naval force, Johnston immediately began laying smoke to conceal the vulnerable escort carriers from the range of the Japanese fleet's guns. Taffy 3 began taking immediate fire to which Johnston and the other destroyers could not answer. At that point, Evans made a decision. Without orders and aware that the chance of victory was non-existent, Commander Evans ordered Johnston to break formation for what amounted to a suicide run. His selfless goal was to buy enough time for the small carriers to escape. As they charged into battle, Commander Evans' words were ominous.
A large Japanese fleet has been contacted. They are 15 miles away and headed in our direction. They are believed to have 4 battleships, 8 cruisers, and a number of destroyers. This will be a fight against overwhelming odds from which survival cannot be expected. We will do what damage we can.
At a range of 10 miles, Johnston unleashed a hail of gunfire on the Kumano, a Mogami-class heavy cruiser that just happened to be the closest ship to him. Over the next 5-minute sprint to maneuver into torpedo range, Johnston fired over 200 rounds at the vastly superior Kumano before firing off all 10 torpedoes and retreating behind a thick cloud of smoke. When Johnston reappeared from the smoke, Commander Evans and his crew saw the Kumano ablaze with their bow torn off from the impact of Fletcher's torpedoes. Kumano was forced to retreat, gravely wounded. At that point, Johnston was rocked by 3 14-inch shell hits fired from the battleship Congo, and then another 3 6-inch shells from Yamato. Though Johnston lost a large amount of propulsion and 3 of her 5-inch guns, she fought on, surviving by using the concealment of a storm squall. Johnston would score hits on Congo with her accurate radar-guided 5-inch guns. At this point in the battle, Admiral Clifton Sprague ordered the rest of Taffy 3's destroyers to attack. Congo would finally find her mark though, rocking the Johnston and cutting her speed in half. Now an easy target, the valiant Fletcher-class destroyer fell prey to the brunt of the center force's guns. USS Johnston would fight no more. The order to abandon ship was given. As she slowly sank into the ocean, crew members saw their fierce captain for the last time. Commander Ernest E. Evans was never to be seen again. His actions that day would see him posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor. Taffy 3 would eventually win the day, forcing the center force away and taking out several larger ships through sheer courage and intestinal fortitude. But how would this matchup go down in World of Warships? One with the Fletcher versus the Mogami. Due to class restrictions, we might never get an authentic matchup complete with Congo, but it's safe to say the results would be fairly similar. Fletcher would easily get the first shots in on Mogami, but at this point, it will have alerted the entire enemy fleet at her arrival. Something we wouldn't want to do if played in the Fletcher. Let's say that we held off on firing our main guns and opted for a surprise attack on the Mogami. Due to the speed of the Mogami, it's unlikely that firing at the torpedo's maximum range will yield effective results. Firing from a range of 7 kilometers or so would be much better. Still, the speed of the Mogami would allow her to avoid most, if not all, of the Fletcher's torpedoes. A wide spread might allow the Fletcher to get lucky and score 1 or 2 hits, but as in real life, this would not be enough to sink the Mogami. One can still not shortchange the Fletcher's abilities. Played with a focus on stealth and cunning, waiting for the enemy instead of charging in the thick of battle, the Tier 9 Fletcher stands a much better chance against the Tier 8 Mogami. In the end, the Fletcher of World of Warships, if played to its strengths, would likely win its fair share of matches. Fletcher versus Mogami comes down to a matter of skill. Thanks for joining me for one of the great matchups in naval history. Zoup, out.
Smoke screen set.